Welcome back. If you've done video 109, then you're at that milestone yet again of a bigger number, 110. Pilates core is where we head now, and I can't encourage you more to breathe and feel the breath before you even think of moving. And the one hitch that happens when people breathe and don't do it properly to get core work is your rib cage stays blocked and you don't get deep abs. What you need right now are head cushions, and that's it. You're going to be doing side lying, abdominals, side lying, glutes, side lying, side lying. The sense of using your side obliques and the side lying position is what you should pick up from this workout. Good morning to everyone watching, Mena and Ken and others. Are we ready? I'm going to press record. I'm going to get in front of this camera and snuffle my way through yet another workout. You'll start on your back, line yourself up. Obviously I'm at an angle to give you a better profile of what's happening. I'm going to be using the head cushion for under my head. I'll use the edges of a mat to line my feet up to make sure that as I lay my spine down, I've got symmetry. With the head cushion under the skull and not under the neck, pull your heels back, check your thigh bones are parallel, and take a moment to absorb the weight of your skeletal frame using your breathing muscles into the ground behind you. The watch areas are the rib cage, so you're inhaling and melting down. Breath in. If I was watching you, I'd see these ribs almost come under your navel, and you would feel, if you were doing that, the back just release into and widen and lengthen into the ground underneath you. Keeping an awareness then of the breathing muscles, and it's your rib cage breath that's going to lead to the most core connection. You think it's the abs, we know it's actually trunk stabilization. We're going to add the little ab curl. That means your pelvis is staying in neutral for now. Breathe in. Exhale, curl up. Stay in the upwards phase and put your hands to your thighs. Breathe in. Nose to navel. Now breathe out and pelvic tilt. As long as you haven't dragged your bottom under, and by not using pelvic floor, you'll not feel this in the back. Breathe in again. Crown of the head to the ceiling, and you bring your second leg up. Join the thighs together. We're breathing in 2, 3, 4, holding the thighs, elbows bent, breathing out 2, 3, 4. Inhaling, and if you had a peak flow, you would actually physically see something moving forwards and backwards if you're deeply breathing in through the nose into the back of you and expelling the air out through the mouth. Inhaling and exhaling. You know that your shoulder blades in theory are off. If you find you can't roll your shoulder blades off because your obliques aren't good enough, then you roll up with the breath out, stay for breath in and roll back down again. It's as though you're constantly rehearsing the ascent into flexion with the right muscles. Nothing in the back should ache if it's done correctly and if you're fit for this. All right, people, this is the last moment for the prep. Stay up. Everyone put your right heel down to the ground, but light. Lower down, breathe in. Exhaling, as you curl up, lower the other leg down and pick the other leg up. Inhaling, go down. Breath out, curl. Flow the upward leg down and pick the other leg up. Inhaling back down. Breathe out, hold thighs if you want, roll and exchange legs. Inhaling back down. Exhale, roll and exchange legs. Both hands under the head, elbows forward. Exhale, exchange, breath in. Breathe out, exchange. Sacrum is flat, breathe in. Exhaled, exchange. Obliques are working really hard, breathe in. And exchange. No shift whatsoever from the high waist imprint to the sacrum through the lumbar. And the breathe is the hardest part. Your collarbones are wide, your scapula, the corner of the scapula just about knows where the floor is, and you can feel everything from the last rib to the hip bones. It's your obliques, and every exchange of leg, one side works harder than the other. hence the sides. Okay, people, let that go. Pull your knees to your chest, and we're into our first side position. On your side then, have your head cushion there. Line yourself up with the edge of the mat, and you can have your arm here or here, but your shoulder is underneath you. Find the book position, as it were. In other words, you've got 90 degrees going on at the hip, the knee, and the waist on the side you're lying is off the floor. This arm can reach. Breathing in and out, I know I'm in neutral. You haven't touched your bottom under. Pelvic floor draws up. As the breath out happens, you'll float the top leg, keeping its shape as though it's the hard back cover of a book, opening and closing. Exhale, it goes, opening. Imagine a spring load that you're pushing against just here, as though you're resisting gravity, making gravity feel really heavy. Breath out, rib cage placement in what we call the lateral position. Exhaling and inhaling. You're going to stay there. Keep the underneath leg pressing down. You're going to do the Charleston. So you pull the knee down and then you pull your heel down. The thing that has to stabilise, or the part of the body that's stabilising, is the pelvic bones. So you may want to put fingertip on the bony crest of the iliac, as well as reaching behind the posterior part. In other words, the femur, the thigh bone moves here within the hip joint, and if you're really deteriorated pelvic stabilising wise and wear and tear, you might find you can only do a small lower lift still without lateral, because lateral is one of the first things with medial that disappears. Whichever way, stay and breathe. Now, final thing here is clamp. That means pull your heels back. We're now further away, the heels are pointed to my sit bones. You're in more lateral rotation again, and you're going to inhale, lower, lift up so that your thigh's on the floor but the lower limb is off. Exhaling and inhale. Or exhale as you lift and inhale. Remember, if you had a glute band on, you'd feel as though you're stretching the band. Now, don't always rush for the glute band. I can assure you that using your own body as a resistance can sometimes be more useful than constantly overloading an area where all you can feel is a big connection rather than more finely tuned reach for all of our pelvic stability. This is pelvis to thigh work, and as long as you're keeping your waist off the floor on the side you're lying and keeping your breath, you're getting exactly what we need. We're waking up all of these fibres here that make up the thigh rotating within a ball and socket joint. Exhaling and inhaling. Both legs are working, you're pressing down on this thigh, the heel's off the floor, and you can feel the medius muscle as well as the other abductors. That's how the leg moves, working really hard, nothing in the knee, and then hold, breathe. Hollow, hollow, breathe, and then let that go. We've got two sides to do, but in between the sides, you're going straight into hands and knees, and we're going to get your chest press. I'm in all fours, my hands are wider than my armpits, and I'm going to lower down, breathing in, breathe out, and push the ground away. Use a straight line so that your journey down forwards is level. We know that both sides of the body are definitely misaligned in terms of you don't have equal strength and range of movement because life doesn't afford that. The purpose of your Pilates moment is to reintroduce the sense of symmetry and the equal recruitment patterning of all the stabilisers from left to right, diagonal, front, back. Inhaling, your elbows go wide open, your face is certainly going forwards of the line that you've lined up with. And if you can dare to get the breath out happening as it should, it'll realign obliques, because one side will find it's happy to work and the other side won't, and that's shoulder stability. Leave that alone and you're ready for the other side of your side lying book and clamp. So here we are, lining up the shins with the edge, the head, the shoulders, and arm here, here. It doesn't really matter. It's more that thigh bones are level and your waist is off. So the breath out, open that hard back book and close it. Keep the weight on the underneath leg as you end up lifting, abduct and adduct. So this one's largely without rotation, so it goes for a deeper muscle set, muscles that I'm not even going to give you the names of, but they're crucial to pelvic stabilisation, hip health and spine health. And more importantly for you, they keep you moving and smiling, even in lockdown will keep you mobile. Last two, inhaling, don't grip the bottom, exhaling, shoulders away from the neck, spinal stabilisation, sideways as it were, and ready for your Charleston. We do tap the knee and tap the heel. Origin of movement is thigh bone within pelvis. Pelvis is stable. Inhaling and exhaling. Remember the rules. If that creates a shearing pain front of the hip, you're either in the wrong position or it's not appropriate for you to do the rotation move. So therefore you just go back to more of a parallel end range movement which is there. Okay, otherwise we're doing two more. Knee, heel, knee, inhale, heel. Keep the heels squeezing. Take your heels back so your thighs have gone a little bit further away from the trunk. You're still in rotation at the thigh bones. Lift your heels off the floor. Check your thighs are level, knee to knee. Lower thigh pressing against the floor. Inhale, lower that leg down. Don't roll the hips. Exhale, squeeze your heels and up. Breathing in and out. Breathing in. Relax everything that's meant to be lined up through the shoulders. There should be no pressure in the neck as you're lowering and lifting. And again, imagine there's a band. I don't want there to be a band because if I did, I'd give you one. You want to feel the workload on the thigh bone as it lowers and lifts medially, lowering, laterally, opening. So you open, close, clamp. Your pelvic position has to be sideline, neutral. You can't collapse at your hip and hope to get anything from this. Okay, this is your last one. Stay and let that go. Going straight into bridge, lying on your back. You can move the head cushion away and have the head cushion between your thighs if it suits you for the opening moment. Heels are under the knee joint-ish, pelvic position is neutral, and your hands are pressing down on the floor to feel the connection between the back of the shoulder armpit. Go to your normal breath. Inhale through the nose, exhaling, feel the rib cage melt and place itself, and then pelvic tilt by pushing into your heels and roll the spine through the rib cage particularly. That's the place where people don't get to. Breathe in, squeeze the pad, and then breathe out. It's your rib cage that needs to be returned down. The lower back doing less than you think in terms of mobilizing and moving. And again, breath in. Exhale. Ribs. Imagine it's the bend of the ribs that helps you lift and roll through the pelvis, rather than the opposite way around. Stay breathing in, keep your hands reaching, and then exhale. I'm going to take my arms sideways, you can see. Exhale, pulling on the pad and laying everything down. Going to take the head cushion away and pull my legs tight together, because now I want breath out so we can end up in single legs. I'm going to go up, same way as we've described. If you've got the strength to lift one leg up, do so. Now, inhaling, pull the rib cage part of the spine down. Exhaling, ground through the heel and roll yourself up. Inhaling, exhale, ribs. Coming down, down, down with symmetry, watching out for rocket pelvic position. Breathe out again. And find the hamstring glute and stay. Now inhale, lower that free leg down. Exhale, pick it up. Inhale, it stays in a bent leg position like tabletop. Exhale, pick it up. I'm now working stability on my hamstring, quad and glute on the left leg. One more. Pelvic position stays neutral and level, and then exhale, final roll down for that left side. Breathing in, legs tight together, check your level with the kneecaps. Breathe out, get your ribs, and take the load out of the lumbar and keep it shoulder blades flat, rib cage connected, and then you can peel the other foot up to tabletop. Pelvis stays level. As you breath out, rolls you down. Rib cage part of the spine is always longer and therefore gives more range than it all being totally lower back. Breath out, pelvic floor, navel to spine, hamstring connect. You can feel the heel and the outside of the foot. You go all the way to neutral, breath in, breathing out, roll the ribs and find your reach. If you fail to get that rib cage connection, you won't get as much hamstring. Exhale up, ribs, use the space in the spine that the ribs gave, which gives you more hams, and you're ready for the lower and lift. Inhaling. So the breath out will continuously ask your core to find its resilience, okay? So you're looking for enduring core stability where necessary. You lower and lift. One more. Hamstrings and glutes on the right leg, working so hard, but nothing in the lumbar spine. Stay, and you got your final rolling down. There we go. Ready for another side position. This time, find yourself into your straight line. Use your straight line for the hips up to the armpit as before, and then pull the feet forwards. If you're on a normal width of mat, which is a narrow mat, it's as though your feet are reaching for a corner. You find your side position. You're in a neutral pelvic shape, underneath arm and pelvic alignment. So the waist is off the floor on the side you're lying. There's a huge gap there on me. Exhaling then, lift, and inhaling to lower. And press the underneath leg down as you let the top leg lift. And lower, breathe. Exhale, abduct, inhale and lower. Abduct and stay. Notice how high this leg isn't. You're going to point the toe and start drawing circles. The best way to understand the sensations here, my underneath leg from my ankle bone all the way to the side of my hip is staying connected with the breathing muscles. My waist is off the floor and I can feel my abductors creating that circular action without my pelvis moving. I'm going to change direction, flex at the heel and draw your circles the other way around. Exhale always over the top of the circle position. Inhale to draw the leg under. Inhaling. Exhaling. 2 more. And 1 more. And then just hold. Allow that little bit of springy element using the side of the bottom. The lengthened breath, inhaling. So you're resisting gravity, your knees not turned up nor down, and you're going right up into the side abductor work. A little bit of a spring, and let that go. Next position is going to be lying on your front. So I'm just going to go onto my front here. It's the final in-betweeny moment. And you're going to do your swim. So for swim, reach your feet backwards, reach your arms forwards, and lengthen, making as much space between the thigh and the pelvis. And then make as much hollow between the rib cage and the hip bone. So in other words, my hip bones are not on the floor. Now pull your shoulders away from your neck and go to fingertips. We call it, imagine you've got a tennis ball under the hands. And breathe in to connect your core. Breathe out, core contain, pelvic floor and navel to spine. Next exhale then, keeping the legs strong but not lifted. Reach your arm, turn and look as though you've just done front crawlish, and inhale, return back. Exhale, nothing else in the body moves except the shoulder blades. Inhale and back. Exhaling, I pull my head into rotation. Exhaling and inhale. If you can't do the movement, then simply hold your shape. Shoulder blades, and that's all we have time for really, but I want to finish with the swan shape. So have your hands wider than your shoulders, keep the legs activated but not the bum squeezing. Breathe out, pull your shoulders back and pull the ground away using all of your abdominal oblique, shoulder blades. Keep the legs strong and then lay the abdominal area down, bending at the elbow. Inhale, nod the chin in. Exhaling, shoulders away from the neck. Create length, so I'm not crunching into my lumbar spine. I'm elevated away from the ground rather than hanging into my lumbar spine. That's not happening. Okay, we're not going to do any more of that, but you are going to pull your knees back. Find a stretch. And ready for your final activity. I'm doing my best to keep these as 20 minutes long, I really am. All right. Shoulders stacked, side position, and then legs forward. Remember that from last time? This is your last activity. Make it good, make it count, and keep your core working. So you're here, nowhere tucked under, and breath out, leg lifts, inhale and lower. Think of the air as the lift. If your breath was so strong that your lower leg would just float up. Breath out, it's as though you're pulling down through the underneath leg. Inhale and lower. Breathe out, lift, inhale and lower. Exhale, both legs are active. Remember, 90% of the purpose of this position is the sideline trunk, and the leg movement is secondary, which means the breath is primary and the ability to move, making a connection to the breath, is secondary. Staying there then, point the toe, and you're going to start your circles. Inhale, lower, exhaling. The neck is long, there's no stress, and the thigh bone pulling away from the pelvis. This is the pelvis, and your thigh trying to get space. If you keep your head on that cushion, thigh creating that space as your circular action of the ball and socket pelvic joint, thigh bone to pelvic stability. And are you ready? Stay. Flex at your ankle. Go back the way you came. Exhale up, inhaling. Imagine with the heel you're drawing a strong, bold circle on the wall at the foot end. If your head look down at the leg, it really is straight line away. It's not behind you. It's drawing its circle slightly backwards, pulling up and slightly forwards. Two more. One more. And let that go. All right, that's all we have time for. The best thing you can do while I finish off is find yourself into a shell stretch. Let your arms, if you can, go all the way back. If you're really stiff, put your head onto a cushion and allow the body to release with the breath. I've got more teaching to do in other formats, so I would say that for you, by all means, rest and stretch. You've done a great workout if you've done both. If you're having to split these up because of your working day, all power to you, well done. I'll be here again tomorrow with more smiling Pilates as we see ourselves walking away from lockdown. Stay well and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye again. Hello, Leslie and Rachel.